Greetings and welcome to the dawn of a new and independent digital motoring era. What we have here today is two of the best.
Yeah, two of the best sub-4-meter sedans.
Welcome them folks to ZigWheels. I'm Ten Hut.
I'm Karthik, and these two sub-4-meter sedans need no introduction.
The question that we will focus on today is the one that's raised by the arrival of this new car. It's bigger and better than before in every possible way. But to find out just how good it is, it's gonna have to go up against this industry champ here.
This industry champ. Generations, both these sub-4-meter sedans are promising a proper sedan-like experience. So the question is, which one feels like the better all-rounder and which one offers the more upmarket experience? To find out, we've lined up the top-end diesel manuals. Picking between these two was never going to be easy. So, the newfound friends that we were, we decided to... let's toss a coin.
Oh, may our choices reflect our hopes and not our fear, my friend.
Nelson Mandela. Deep. And appropriate, because you should have more than a coin toss to help you choose between these two. Honda, the masters of packaging, are at it again with the Amaze. On paper, as measured by us, the Amaze offers more knee room than the Dzire. The seats also offer better under-thigh support. But that's not all. It's even the smaller details like the low window line and the small headrest that make this cabin feel bigger and more airy than it is.
And then you sit in the back seat of the Dzire only to realize that the Dzire here manages to do most things even better.
And part of the reason for that is the front seat. And that's because, one, it is better for taller occupants because it offers more headroom, and while doing that, the seats are also set higher, which means whether you're a passenger there or driving here, you don't really have to push the seat back to get comfortable.
Which means that the occupants here in the rear seat are left with more room. And keep in mind, the Dzire is a wider car, so 3 people sit in comfort. If you happen to be a tall guy or a tall guy with a turban, well, the headroom, the Dzire, is just going to be that much nicer to you. Combine that with the better cushioned, contoured and better shaped seats, well, the back seat comfort here is that much more nicer.
You know what? Just look around the cabin. You'll realize Maruti's been really clever. Look at the B-pillar, look at that seat belt there, and look at the dash. There's just so much beige here, and that just makes this cabin feel that much more cheery.
You know what I really like about you? It's the small details to the character.
Details like?
Well, I mean the Dzire, like the adjustable headrest, and of course the rear AC vent.
The Amaze's dash is set quite high and wouldn't be out of place in an SUV. Everything you see inside is functional and of good quality, but a bit bland.
The Dzire, on the other hand, tries to dazzle you on the inside with silver accents and wood finish inserts. The dash too is contoured not only to look good but also to excavate more space up front. But then this cabin too is generic, for practically everything seen inside here has been seen before in one or the other Maruti cars.
Now that we've gotten familiar with the interiors, let's see kitne paise mein kitna milega. Now these top spec diesels are priced really close. The first 20,000 Amaze customers had enjoyed an introductory pricing, but since then the price has been hiked. But at the same time, the Desire's price has also increased. The difference between the two is about 20,000 rupees. So while the Dzire is more expensive, it also packs in more equipment. First, let's see what are the features in common between these two, starting with keyless entry, push button start, and bro, common features.
Oh yes, of course, common features. Well, both the cars get steering mounted audio controls, automatic climate control. At the back there is a rear armrest, and both cars get height adjustable driver seat.
Excellent. The driver also gets a tilt adjust steering, MID, and there's also a lamp for the luggage space.
Well, can we just agree that the Dzire here, it justifies its higher asking price because, well, it gets leather wrapped steering wheel, flat bottom one, and most importantly, LED projector headlamps, which are automatic headlamps.
But bro, the Amaze gets cruise control.
Who the hell needs that? It's a manual car.
Well, I'll try to keep a straight face, but strangely enough, Honda doesn't offer it on the automatic. Go figure. Now, when it comes to infotainment features, both cars have snappy 7-inch touchscreens. The Amaze pipes out music from 4 speakers, but music sounds much nicer in the Dzire as it has a 6-speaker setup. In terms of safety, both these cars offer ABS, EBD, dual airbags and ISOFIX mounts as standard. But if you consider weight to be the primary measure of safety, here goes. Let us know which one of these you think is safer and by how much. And when it comes to fit and durability, both these cars had an equal number of squeaks and rattles. Now, the old Amaze, it had one nasty habit. It liked to talk with its mouth full of nuts and bolts and made a horrible racket while doing that. Which is why, to fix it, Honda went back to the DNA stage. They reworked the engine block, they changed the engine mounts, they put in a whole bunch of sound deadening, and all of it is aimed to make it much more well-mannered, which it is. But the question is, which one of these two is quieter?
Oh, I can tell that. Which one's quieter? A simple coin toss is going to do.
Let's drive. Well, what we learned without tossing a coin is that the Amaze is quieter, period. In city commute mode, well, the Dzire is just a little bit louder, but when you rev that Maruti up, it really gets clattery.
You mean it's like that perfect white shirt? Honda seems to have now ironed out ID-Tech's wrinkles.
Well, all except one, because you still get a little bit of that diesel thrum. You kind of feel it through the floorboard, which on longer journeys will make it feel a bit more tiring. What the Amaze does properly is smoke the Dzire. 0 to 60, 0 to 100, it just drops the Dzire for dead practically. It's seconds off. And what's more impressive is the in-gear acceleration, which means in everyday driving conditions, this just scampers ahead.
Well, I can see that. I mean, it seems to be pretty talky, but you seem to be working that gearbox a whole lot.
Okay, little bit of geek speak here. The gear ratios are a bit tight. I would have loved to see either taller ratios or more revs. That would have made this feel a bit more flexible.
Is the Amaze Honda enough in the way it drives?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The steering, it's a bit disappointing. There's not enough feel, it's unnecessarily heavy. Simply, the Dzire ends up feeling more agile and intuitive.
But then the suspension, it feels like it's softly sprung and underdamped. But then over bad roads, like right now, the car literally tosses you around. I wouldn't like that.
Well, Saab, I must tell you, there is one thing you will like.
What would that be?
The city fuel efficiency. It's delivering nearly 20 kilometers per liter despite having all that performance.
I wonder what the fuel efficiency numbers for the Dzire then would look like.
You are about to find out.
Well, the Dzire now seems to be dishing out 19 kilometers to the liter, which is not all too far behind what the Amaze was delivering, which is what, 20 kilometers to the liter?
Well, just under, so neck and neck.
literally 19-20 का फर्क है फिर. But then if these two cars were put on the highway, then the Dzire edges the Amaze out by about 5 kilometers extra to the liter. That's the highway fuel efficiency numbers then. Yes, there is some amount of turbo lag. It's not as peppy, as powerful as the Amaze is. But then the turbo lag doesn't really get to you to an extent where it becomes annoying. So I would say for city driving conditions, it can be quite a relaxing experience in the Dzire too.
But what's it like on an open road?
Well, just one thing to say there, the engine here does rev quickly, so it does the job just fine.
On paper, the Amaze has an extra 7 mm of unladen ground clearance, but that advantage is thrown out the window because of the soft suspension. To put it simply, in the Honda, you need to watch when you go over speed breakers, whereas in the Maruti, you don't.
So that leaves us with one thing, and that's the way these two cars look.
Oh, looks! Now looks are subjective, so that definitely calls for a coin toss. Or maybe not. Because you see, squeezing a sedan into 4 meters was never going to be a recipe for automotive art.
Agreed, but the creators of these two cars clearly had a plan. These don't look like afterthoughts. Look at the Amaze. Yes, it's polarizing, but to me it looks like the grandson of the Accord.
Well, the Dzire here clearly looks to be having more flash value for me. So, to summarize my newfound understanding, picking between the two is just like tossing a coin.
An exercise you could do without, because no matter which one of these you pick, you'd be getting different sides of the same coin.
That said, if you want a reason to pick the Amaze, it would be for its strong performance, its segment-leading boot, and spacious cabin.
But if performance isn't sitting on top of your must-have list, you'll find that the Dzire does just about everything a little bit better. Bro, that was fun!
Thank you very much.
Let's do it again. What do you say?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah?
Why
Cool.
don't you hop over to PowerDrift?
I'm cool with that. On the way, do you want to head on to Car Dekho?
Yeah, there could be a few surprises for us there.
Ah, interesting. But actually, where do we head from here now? Coin toss!